Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducks of Gaming, and the next episode of Farming for a Mageblood. So we're now on to episode 4. The previous episodes have done various farms from a growing horde's harvest to all and Harbinger farming, and along the way there's been some dud strats which I'm going to try and avoid from now on, as it took me a while to get back on profit in terms of my hourly rate. So my overall goal is to be earning 4.5 to 5 divines of actual sellable loot or raw currency per hour, which is going to allow me to buy an apothecary card roughly every 12 to 13 hours of gameplay. Now, I want to do the entire series on my Fizz to Conversion Tornado Shot character that I bought a build guide out for, which cost about 40 divines to put together at the time. Now, due to this, I can't really do any super juicing, as I tried some Crimson Temple juicing with like Deli, Scarabs, Sextants, and it just took too long. I died a lot, and it just wouldn't be profitable in the long run unless I get really lucky and drop a Mageblood card. You obviously have to roll the maps with really high quantum pack size as well, and that obviously makes them more difficult than the content that I'm running, which is mostly Alch and Go, or in some cases I might be pushing for some higher quantity. So the strategy I've used in this episode was just Alch and Go, Deli mirrors, and Harby farming. So for the first time in as long as I can remember, I've removed essences from the tree because I needed all my points to get the nodes I wanted for the strat. It actually turned out to not be a bad decision, as you still get essences turn up nearly every map because of blocking. And then if you get a purple one, you can still corrupt it into a special essence, which has happened a few times. So you can still make a little bit of money from essences. It's obviously not going to be as much, but as you'll see from the tree, I needed every point to get all the nodes that I wanted. So I've stuck with Harbingers, as I found it really good, consistent income. We're getting closer now to a complete fracturing orb. So firstly, before we go over the tree, let's talk about why Deli, and is our character good enough to basically trounce Deli content. So it isn't good enough, the character. I need to rely on help from Shrines and Nico, and I can't really juice the map very much, but I'm able to get to the end of every single map. Most of the time I'm taking a boss down, so I'm getting 7 to 8 reward stacks every time. But the idea of the strat isn't to juice the map and spend like 10 to 15 minutes completing it. The idea is to still get through the map within 5 minutes, get to 7 rewards, then stop the Delirium, finish the map, do the Harbies, pick up the League mechanic, and I want to be in and out within 5 minutes. And I just want to get as many Deli orbs as possible. Now, the boss can be tough to kill, but it adds like 1 layer of reward, so you kind of have to try and do it. So the way I've been dealing with the boss is I haven't been able to kill him on every map, but in a map where I pick up good shrine buffs, then I'm then rushing to the end, killing the boss, and then backtracking along the way, and that gets me to 7 or 8 rewards pretty comfortably. And it's allowed me to complete maps, in about 5 minutes when a Deli mirror spawns. Because we're not forcing it, there will be maps, probably about 3 out of 10 maps where it doesn't spawn. Then we just do the Harby, finish the map, is 2 to 2.5 minutes. So I'm running a cast on death portal in case I die, because it means I can get back to the Deli without losing the fog. However, I've only had 1 death so far, and I've done over 30 maps. I'm being a bit more careful than previously when rolling my maps though. So I'm avoiding any massive extra life on maps, life as ES or monsters take reduced damage from crit. I don't mind dying because I've got my cast on death portal, but if things are too hard to kill, it just means the map takes too long, or I just get stuck once it gets to like 7 layers of Delirium and the enemies have just got too much health. So the reason for Deli is that orbs drop a lot. I'm averaging well over a Deli orb a map, along with all the random loot that you get from Deli, and the prices on PoE Ninja are very far away from what you can actually get. In bulk, even the bad orbs sell for about 15 chaos each, and then you go to the other end of the spectrum, and Diviner's orbs sell for like 7 or 8 for a Divine. Simulacrums, although they're not worth a lot, you'll build them up quite quickly, and they're worth 40 to 50 seats for a simulacrum. So it's pretty decent considering you're going to get 50 to 100 splinters in a map. It's pretty decent. And then considering it is just Alch and Go, there's not really any cost to the strategy other than putting Harbinger on the map device. So it's 6C per map essentially, other than rolling your map. So we'll just go and have a quick look at the Atlas tree. It's kind of experimental. I've never done it before. But we're basically taking the majority of the Deli nodes. I'm not taking the boss nodes because I don't really care about getting bosses in the map. But other than that, we're taking the Deli nodes, and we're taking all the ones up here and down here. And then we're also taking all of the Harbinger nodes as well, and then all of the Exarch Shrine nodes, along with a few map nodes just because I had spare points. We're also taking Shrines, as they help a lot in Delirium. And then lastly, we're taking these 2 Delve nodes so that I can get a little bit of Azurite, which converts to Resonators, which you can sell. And then this actually helps a lot, when you've picked up your 3 Soulfight nodes in the map, you get 105 increased damage, 45% increased movement speed, and 3% to all maps and resistances. It's a very, very big defensive and offensive buff for 2 points. Now, you can only do this because I'm running Stream of Consciousness if you have Nico missions. So if we go here, I've got 99 red Nico missions left. I don't know how much more I'm going to do this strategy for, if at all, because I've got an idea of my next one, which I think is going to be big profit. But I am enjoying this. So as long as you've got Nico missions, you can do this. If not, and you want the Nico buffs, you're going to have to drop Stream of Consciousness, which means you're not going to get Deli and Harbinger as much. But it does mean you can put Scarabs into your map device if you wanted to get more Harbingers. So I'm sure it would balance out in the long run. And then you would just run a Nico Scarab, and then you're going to guarantee that you get all these buffs from getting the soul fight in the maps. So in terms of the strategy itself, it's actually been really good. The maps are not taking as long as I thought. In Deli, it's about 5 minutes when I have to clear the map. And when I don't, it's 2.5, and you get them about 7 out of every 10 maps. You'll get Delirium. You get decent rewards from Delirium, but also it adds lots of rare monsters into the map. So I have had some loot explosions with Scarabs, maps, currency, things like that also add a lot of value. I think in all honesty, I should 100% be running an inspired learning on my tree. So where I've got my brutal restraint, it does give me onslaught on kill, but I think 100% I'll be better off with inspired learning here. But I want to stick to the build guide that I bought out in case other people wanted to follow along with the strategy. And I have had some luck this episode. I've dropped a Voidborn Reliquary Key, which I still need to sell. I had a 5 Divine Sanctum run, although Sanctum in general, I'm probably still below average because I've had such bad luck with runs where I get to a point where I have to pick one of 2 rooms and they've both got smoke rooms, and I basically decide to abandon the run because it's pointless RNGing your way through it when you don't know what you're going to get. The only time I carry these on is if I've already got Divines banked at the end. So overall, yeah, the strat was about 4 Divines an hour, not taking into account the loot from Sanctum, and it includes the time to run it. So I think this is quite a profitable strategy. It's fun, but you do have to do it for a while because you need to get your Deli Orbs in bulk to be able to sell them. Although on TFT, they're fairly easy to sell just as all of them. So say you had 50 junk Delirium Orbs, you'd just go on and say, I want to sell 50 random rubbish Delirium Orbs, 15C each or whatever you want to charge to them, and they'll sell at some point. So that's probably what I'll do with my orbs once I decide to move on to another strategy. Or if you've got like 6 or 7 of each, you could just list them for bulk on trade. You'll get the same price for them. But selling them individually is a bit silly because you probably get half the value of them. So as I say, I don't really track profit for the strategy because I'm just bothered about getting a Mageblood. So I'm throwing everything in there from, lucky drops, Sanctum Wars, because it just takes too long to try and split all that up. But overall, I've run 39 maps for this strategy so far. And in terms of currency, we started this strategy at 1945 on the clock with just under 81 Divines. We finished at 22 hours and 44. So the strategy has basically been going for 3 hours. In that time, we've added about 20 Divines to the stash. So you're talking about 7 and a bit Divines per hour, but I have had some lucky drops. But overall, I think the strategy is probably 4 to 5. So if we just bring out Excellence next, which is the next thing I'm going to come on to because it's just so unreliable sometimes that I need to start liquidating my loot more. So an example is this image. Before we go into Excellence next, I'll just show you this image where I went into a map, came out, and my Divines dropped by 4 after putting loot in because prices change a lot. People might price fix something, or loads of people might list something for the wrong price, and that's what gets scraped from your prices. So at some point yesterday, Divine Orbs were listed at like 23 Chaos. All Natal Breaches were listed at like 5 Chaos. There was just lots of things that are making it really hard to track my currency. So let's go in now and have a look. So this was at 100, as I say. So I don't know if 100 was right or this was right. But if we just click take snapshot and have a look what happens, it's gone back up to 100 again. So I'm assuming this is the right price, but I have no idea. So that's what I'm going to come on to next to finalize the video. So in terms of the strategy, I enjoyed it. It works. If your build can get through Delirium and get to the end, it's a very, very easy way of making a lot of money for no investment. As I say, 6 EM map is all you're putting on. You don't even have to run Harbingers if you don't want to. You can run something else and then it's completely free. Deli itself is very good. You drop orbs all the time. They're worth a lot of money. You're going to get simulacrums that you can sell, and then you get all the other loot from the Delirium as well. There's also a few good benefits from running Delirium. So if we go and look at the actual nodes, there's some really decent nodes that can end up getting a lot of currency. So you've got these to add more chance to drop Delirium orbs, which are really good. This is also really good. It's only an 8% chance, But what you get is an 8% chance to generate 3 additional rewards type, and that's at the start. So instead of starting with 1 reward, just start with 4. And then as you scale it up, you get more and more. So when you get your higher layers of 7 or 8, you've got like 6 or 7 different rewards that you can get. And when that procs, you make a lot of money. And overall, I've just, really enjoyed it. Maps found in your maps have layers of Delirium. Even though it's a small chance, again, you could end up getting something with Scarabs, which you could run yourself or sell. You could get divination cards. There's lots of good things you can get, and it follows your favorite. So if I'm running Singular Focus, it's always going to be Strand. So if you were bothered about these maps, you probably wouldn't run Singular Focus, because I'm missing out on a lot of maps that get turned to currency. Overall, I think it's a pretty good strat if you just want like an Alch and go and you're happy doing Delirium, because it can be quite tough, but it's fun, it's challenging, loads and loads of loot drops. And overall, most of the stuff you get that drops is really, really easy to sell. So there's a few things I want to go through before we close out the video. So the last thing I want to talk about is selling loot, because when you're trying to do a strategy that you're trying to earn essentially 300 raw divines to get a Mageblood, that's a lot of currency, and it's a lot of stuff you need to convert into currency. What I was doing for my first few strats was just saving it all up and then maybe having an hour where I price, sit in my hideout and sell everything. Which works to an extent, but not everything's going to sell, especially like essences. If you want to get a reasonable price for them, you might wait half an hour to sell them. Same with things like your Harvest Life Force. If you want to not underprice it and get a better price, you might have to wait a little while. And it's certainly evident for things like my Ornithal Breachstones here, for example. They sell pretty easily for 25, 26C, but they're not massively in demand. So when I've got like 20 of them, I might sell them over time, over like an hour and 2. So what I've decided is, firstly, I'm just going to accept that I'm going to have to come out of maps to do sales, but only on stuff that's, 25C or more. Otherwise, I'd rather sell it in bulk or sell it cheaper. And then the other thing I've started doing is just leaving the game on when I'm not playing it. So if I'm on lunch at work or I'm on a break, I'll turn the game on, sit in my hideout while I'm doing other stuff, and then I can just sell stuff as and when. It's the same as if I'm just watching something on YouTube or I'm cooking my dinner or anything. I'll just have the game on with very, very loud text notifications in terms of your chat alerts, and then I'll just sell stuff that way. I just find it easier than trying to do everything while I'm playing the game. So if I'm in the game and I'm actively doing a selling session, I'm obviously going to have the timer running. But if I'm, AFK and I'm on my lunch at work or I'm watching a video or I'm not playing the game, then I'll just sell stuff as and when the notifications come through, which might not be something that everyone can do. So you might not be, lucky like that, and you might have to spend a bit more time selling your loot. But for me, I've found it quite useful for getting rid of things like Breachstones, where I might have 30 or 40 of them, or if I've got 50 of one type of essence and it's not one of the really popular ones, they might sell over time. So that's what I've been doing. And it's the same with sort of the boss maps, because everyone is running sextants of boss maps. These don't sell that easily now. So I may actually keep hold of them, run them, and then sell the fragments that come out of it. Might be better, but we'll wait and see. So because of the issue of selling and the issue of Excellence Next being super inaccurate sometimes, I've decided to spend another hour out of my time trying to sell pretty much everything in here. So I'm going to start the timer ticking. I'm going to go and sell all the loot I can, and then I'll be back with you and we'll look at what the pot looks like and see if we can buy our first. I mean, we can buy our first card. We can with what we've got in here. But the idea is I wanted to buy one every 12 hours, so I need to be closing in on my second card. So let's go up to 23 hours, 45 minutes and see how we get on with selling all of the loot. So I'll be back with you shortly. So I finished cleaning up and selling my loot, and it took me a bit more than an hour because I wanted to literally clean it up so that I am good to go and I know exactly where I am in terms of currency. And then I've also bought my first Apothecary card, which I think was 59 divines. So in terms of raw currency, we're sitting on 12 divines, a lot of chaos, probably like 13 divines worth of chaos. I've sold loads of stuff from alterations, fusings, anything I can sell, I'm selling. Sold a lot of our exotic currency as well. And then obviously all the stuff that was sitting in here. And there is not very much left to sell. There's a couple of Skin of the Lords that I've got up for sale that came from div cards. And then just some fossils all priced at a chaos that may or may not sell. Some Polished Legion scabs, no idea if they're going to sell. And then these two things. And yeah, 98.72 divines. So in terms of value, Excellence Next wasn't that far off. I would think I'm probably more like 100 to 101 because I'm going to get much more for my Delirium orbs than Excellence Next says. But overall, really, really happy with what the currency situation is looking like. And hopefully we're not too far away from our next Apothecary card. That's it for this video. Just really wanted to give people an update, but not just an update, kind of explain at what stage I kind of decide, right, I really need to start cleaning out my stash tabs and spend a bit of time doing it, because I don't want to end up with a stash tab that says it's like 150 divines, but it's going to take me 3 hours to sort it and 3 hours to sell the loot. So I thought it was about time to have a cleanup. No, I know what the next strategy is going to be. I'm not going to spoil it. So you'll have to tune into the next video to find out. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.